Whose idea was this?
Wasn't mine. I didn't want to read any of it.
Wait, we let them pick?
Why did we do that?
How did this get approved?
No one talked to me!
I wasn't involved.
Democracy is a scam!
iFanboy is brought to you by GoDaddy.com and Netflix.com.
Hey, welcome to iFanboy, the comic book discussion show. My name is Connor.
I'm Ron.
And I am Josh. There are a lot of people at iFanboy.com, our website, who
Lots of people.
who read a lot of books because we can't read everything. And occasionally we start hearing the same titles come up over, and why aren't you reading this? Why aren't you reading this? And
We get a lot of suggestions.
Yes.
We've followed up on a lot of those.
we try to. It's worked out in the past. We all started reading Fell, for example,
Fell,
because
Checkmate.
of that.
Yep.
Checkmate, because people said, this is great, you need to get on that. And
Actually, Fear Agent 2 was one that was
Yeah,
came
it was,
originally
yeah.
from the readership.
Yep.
so
Daily News was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys get good taste most of the time.
I feel like we hadn't done it in a while.
Right.
Taking suggestions. And so we put up a thread on the site that said, hey audience, what is it you want? Because we are nothing if not your loyal servants.
Yes.
Mostly
We're here
him.
for
Let's
you.
not go that far.
Okay.
Yes.
And so lots and lots of people put in their 2 cents, sometimes 8 to 14 cents. And
Again and again and again.
We told you one vote. We didn't count your
Yeah.
multiple votes.
and our resident statistician, Conor Kilpatrick.
We had over 380 votes, over 100 books, 100 different books were voted
Wow.
on.
That's crazy.
So we
And
picked 3.
So we counted all the votes. We picked the top 3 vote getters, and each one of us read one. And
Yep.
so let's start off with the third highest vote getting book, which was
Deadpool. So Deadpool, it's a recently launched title. It's in its first year at Marvel Comics, and there's a lot of you out there reading it and really enjoying it. For those who don't know who Deadpool is, he was created by Rob Liefeld and Louise Simonson back in the days of New Mutants, and he's that guy, the red with the black eyes, mercenary. And he was.
Was I supposed to figure out the creators for mine?
yes, yes, you
Showing
were.
off my knowledge. And he started off as kind of like a badass assassin, mercenary. And over time, it was revealed that he was part of the Weapon X program, and his real name is Wade Wilson, and he's got regenerative powers like Wolverine, and all this kind of cool stuff. And then in the late '90s, Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness got their hands on him and did what is now considered a legendary run, which introduced the whole idea of the Merc with a mouth, which is where it was a little bit previously before that, but that really solidified that.
He was the funny.
He was funny. He was talking all the time, cracking jokes, doing all that kind of stuff. And then over the years, there's been a lot of work with Deadpool where they've kind of broken the fourth wall. And we've talked about that on the audio show as well as some of the
And the
video
fourth wall
shows.
show.
The fourth wall show, yeah.
That wasn't a Joe Kelly thing?
I don't remember if Joe Kelly invented that or not, or
But he
I think it was
perfected it.
somebody later on who broke it. Anyway,
But that's
not the
a
point.
hallmark of the character, though.
Right. So over the past couple of years, he for a couple of years, he shared a title as Cable Deadpool, where him and Cable were together, and then now, we're about less than a year into his solo title. It's written by Daniel Way, drawn by Paco Medina, and just like we said, tons of people on the board have liked it. And so I dove in and I grabbed issues 4 through 8, which represents 5 issues of its first run. I didn't read issues 1 through 3, although I heard those were the best of the run so far, which I just couldn't find them. Although I couldn't find them in issue form, but actually, if you look on Marvel's online comics thing, all the issues are there for part of their try it. Although they should be free, but anyway.
Why?
It's like the
All of
If they want you to try it.
I
and
see.
Yeah, they get more. But so the first 3 issues actually were Secret Invasion tied, and that actually laid the background story for how Norman Osborn got the information on the Skrull Queen on how to kill her. Because basically, Nick Fury hired Deadpool to infiltrate the Skrulls, find out some information, give it to him. Norman Osborn intercepted that information and apparently used that to kill her. Totally not apparent in the Secret Invasion story, but if you were reading it, it apparently made the Secret Invasion story that much better. Like one of those examples things. Great. Unfortunately, the issues I read didn't deal with that. What you got is you've got basically Daniel Way writing Deadpool the way he's been written, and so there's a lot of that. A lot of that inner monologue is the narration, him talking to himself. There was a third voice that was in a different colored narration box. It was a white box with a different font. Well, I never knew who that third voice was. Like, you had Deadpool's head, and this third voice all talking to each other, which got
Perhaps
confusing.
Uatu?
No, it wasn't a Watu.
I tried.
But so the stories I read were kind of madcap adventures. One of them was he gets hired by this. He needs money after the Nick Fury thing. He doesn't get paid, and he's got no money. All he's got is a lot of C4, of which he makes a chair out of, which is kind of funny. He's sitting in a plastic explosive chair, and he calls up this guy Zeke, who hires him to go find his wife, who's been abducted by a doctor who's turning in Eastern Europe, who's turning the townspeople into zombies. So you've got zombies, that sort of thing, and. So he goes off on this little adventure, and it was a 2-issue kind of jaunt that had a lot of explosions and a lot of snappy dialogue. And then after that, he comes back, and Tiger Shark, the villain, for some reason is hunting him down, and it's tied into Dark Reign somehow. You find out that Norman Osborn seems to be wants to kill Deadpool. Deadpool then in turn wants to bill Norman Osborn for the information on the Skrull Queen because he didn't get paid, and that led off into a crossover with the Thunderbolts, which was
This is an invoicing conflict.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, the thing is that like I get why people liked it because there was there's some humor, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of explosions, there's a lot of guns, there's a lot of witty banter, that sort of thing. But for me, it wasn't. I mean, it felt a lot like a retread of the old Joe Kelly and McGinnis stuff.
Right.
It stuff I've already read before. Nothing was terribly. Like overly witty, like he used yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Like he actually, there's all these movie references and lines, but like totally obvious ones,
right.
not any really good ones, Just the stories in general. Like Daniel Way did a lot of time shifting, where it'd be like 12 hours ago, and you see like 2 pages of what was happening, then now, and so you're like, all right, so you're trying, but. When that's done really well, it's really smooth and elegant, and this was just really herky-jerky and left more questions where I found myself actually going back on, wait a minute, what? Okay, we're 12 hours from now, 24 hours from now, but now, so the time shifting felt like kind of unnecessary. Like it didn't reveal some great plot point that I was like, oh, clever, I see.
Right.
It was just that. So I don't know. I mean, I could see why people who might be new to comics and knew the character or like the character would be into it. And if that's the case, I would strongly recommend go picking up the Joe Kelly and McGinnis stuff because then you'll love that, the older stuff. And if you like the character, that's great. For me, it's one of those things where I can take him in a crossover, but I don't like him enough to spend the $2 or $3.99 on the issue.
Why do you think he has such a fervent fan base? Because people who like Deadpool really like Deadpool.
I think because he's not because it's not the typical book.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
He's a mercenary.
He's a mercenary. He's in it for himself.
Depends on who pays him.
Does he have any sort of moral code? Because most of the bad guy, like the Merc, they'll have a line that they don't cross. They won't shoot a baby.
No.
Okay.
Will he eat a baby?
Normally he doesn't do assassinations, but he does them sometimes. It's.
So what does he do then? You don't do assassin anyway.
But I mean, there are a lot of guns and there are a lot of explosions.
Really basic question. What's Deadpool's deal? He was in the weapon.
He was in the Weapon X program.
What's his power? Is he a mutant?
Yeah, he's a mutant and he's got regenerative powers, and also
he's got a healing factor.
He's got a healing factor.
Is that his only mutant power?
As far I probably got to look it up on Wikipedia, but as far as I know, I think that's the case.
Okay.
He's good with swords.
And he's got good shot. He's got good aim.
So he's one of those mutants with 14 powers.
Yeah.
But his face is all
scarred and screwed up and everything.
Okay.
And at one point in the zombie issues, the zombies go to eat him and they spit him out because he tastes gross because everything that's been done to him.
Didn't he have cancer too at one point?
He might have. I vaguely recollect that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was just a lot of retread. I mean, like there was 2 issues of zombies. Like it was like still
that
the
sounds
zombies.
like a fan, like here's some chum.
Right, exactly. So I mean, that's the thing. Like, and that's not saying if that's your thing and you might dig it, and if that and the thing is, I do see the allure of the humor. Some of the dialogue when it gets rolling, when it gets witty, it got kind of funny. And like, there's a Bob the Hydra agent. Where it's
I mean, literally, there's done that, and he's been named Bob.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So Bob
it's like,
the monitor.
Yeah,
Bob the monitor.
Yeah, so it's like it's a lot of things like that where and I see the check boxes that get checked off for it. I understand that, but it doesn't. For me, it didn't.
It's a meal that sounds very nice, but doesn't necessarily satisfy you.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So,
I don't think I'd like this book at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think the humor, the juxtaposition of the humor and the violence is probably what is the biggest attraction to it, is that it's a funny action movie.
Well, people throw the word like, oh, it's a funny book. And they'll say, well, Josh, you like it. You're funny. And I was like, there's lots of different kinds of humor out there.
Right.
And that's like I guess almost like a bombastic kind that is not really my thing so much.
Yeah.
All right, we got another book to talk about after the break.
iFanboy is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. Web hosting from GoDaddy includes 99.9% uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to Hosting Connection, the place to install over 30 free applications sure to help you get the most from your hosting plan and website. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names starting as low as $1.99, plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. Make sure to check out revision3.com/GoDaddy for all of iFanboy's GoDaddy deals and codes.
So it doesn't sound like you're going to be.
No, I will not be reading
diving
Deadpool.
back
I will
into
not.
the Deadpool.
Sorry, Daniel Way.
All right.
I'm not going to do it. I really don't like Daniel Way, by the way, but that I didn't let that bias me.
Okay.
Or you don't like his writing.
I don't like his writing. I have never met him, but
You've nothing against the man.
Exactly.
What about his tirades against people on message board? Anyway, so the next one up.
The second highest voted getting book was Lock & Key, which we have here.
which I've heard amazing things about.
Yeah, this is the
big
second
buzz
coming
book. Yeah,
of
it's a big buzz.
comics.
Lock & Key is from IDW, and it's written by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son,
Oh, okay.
which
I did not know that.
he's going on his own, which is admirable.
Good for him.
And it is a horror book, which we don't necessarily read a lot of horror books here.
I don't think not one of us would consider ourselves a horror fan.
I'm not a horror fan, but also not someone who doesn't dislikes horror. I do like good horror, and I don't necessarily. The great thing about horror is horror doesn't always involve. There's levels of horror.
Well, horror, like humor, can mean different things. There's gory
Yes.
stuff. There's
These days, horror tends to mean very graphic, very violent murder and
Yeah.
mayhem or zombies,
Yeah.
especially in comics. So when I heard Lock & Key is a great horror book, my mind just went, all right, I'm not really into that. But we had a lot of praise. Everybody you talk to who's read this book really loves it.
It's true.
So this was our second highest getting book. I picked up this trade, and it was really good.
Yeah.
It was really strong.
So it lives up to the hype.
And the thing about it does live to the hype. The thing about the book is it's a horror. It's more in the sense, and it's hard not to make the comparison knowing who he is, but it's sort of classic Stephen King-y in that there's a murderer, and he's crazy, but he's also being driven by a spirit. But it's not like there's monsters popping out of closets or zombies or things. It's just like this family was terrorized by this murderer. He was sent to prison. He gets out of he escapes from prison, and he's coming back to terrorize the family. And it's horror in that sense, like, oh my God, there's someone coming to get revenge on us and kill it.
The first page, it basically starts off what is a real life sort of horror terror. I read half of it. I haven't finished it. I actually picked it up too, and I don't like horror. Like I kind of avoid it. So I was curious though. I kind of want to know what's this all. But the first
the first 2 pages are like, oh.
Yeah, and it's not horror, monsters, supernatural horror. It's what if really bad people came to your house and did really horrible things to your family, and they start off with it right away. And that almost sounds exploitative, but it doesn't really feel that way.
No, it's not. It's not overly gruesome. And there's blood in the beginning, in this murder scenes, but it's not like it's all over the place. And then it's gone forever. But the mystical elements are the family is these two. Bad things happen to the family, and the surviving members move across the country to escape the memories.
Locke family.
And they move to this old family house that's been in the family for generations, and there's all these different rooms, and there's all these strange keys. And that's where the mystical element comes. Certain keys open doors and do certain things when you walk through them.
Right.
Cool.
And one of the little kid in the family discovers you open a key with a certain door, and you die. In your body, you come out as a spirit. You can come back into your body, but you're basically your body that falls over dead, and you're a spirit, free to wander. And he's able to, wander around, see what everybody's going, see all the emotional stuff everybody's going through, and then he finds the spirit that's been behind the murders from the beginning. But it's creepy more than scary.
Yeah.
Like I was finished, and I felt creeped out afterwards because there's a lot of very effective writing in that. Again, it's not over the top. It's very subtle in a lot of ways, I think.
One of the things that you said to me when we talked about this was that it's a good comic book.
Yes.
And the thing is, regardless of genre or what's going on, a well-made comic book, a well-plotted
Will
story,
transcend any genre.
Yeah, it's very true. And I found that to be really true. I found myself really impressed by the actual mechanics of the pages and the plot and the pacing and all that
Joe
stuff.
Hill's a novelist.
Yeah.
He's a novelist like his father is, and I'm assuming this is his first work. I didn't really do the research on him, but even if it's not, it's early, and it's very well. He doesn't have any of that transitional problem people come into comics with, where it's not overwritten. There's not too many panels. That's usually the two things that people do when they go into comics is they fill too much into the pages. But it's very well done.
There's a lot of pages where there's not a lot of dialogue, and like things will be going on in the background of the panels that will be the things you're actually supposed to be paying to.
Actually, storytelling.
Yeah.
Oh,
Visual storytelling.
really
How
nice stuff like that.
Using the medium.
And then not to give Joe Hill all the credit, but Gabriel Rodriguez, a name who I'm not familiar with.
Not at all. And his art, and what you expect a horror book to have art like Jason Alexander, the guy who did some of the art in Escapist, and also some of the
Just sort of creepy.
BPRD, or very
inky,
sketchy and dark, and
moody, but like
the art
this doesn't
here
look like that
is
at all.
almost cartoonish.
It's almost Steve Ralston-y.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
sort of like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that is a nice juxtaposition to what's happening in the page, because it's clean, it's nice lines, and also he does a great job with characters. They all have distinct faces and looks.
Yep.
And they all
emotions and stuff like that.
and they act well, and the family members look like they're related.
Yeah.
But without being the same
I mean,
person.
they're all basically normal white people without superhero costumes, and there's lots of male figures, and he does a really good job of distinguishing who they are. The only thing on some of them, and this is, I don't know if this is just the way it's done, sometimes it's hard to tell how old somebody's supposed to be.
Yes.
Then they go ahead and they tell you.
Yeah.
Because like the kids have an uncle, and he looks like he's about the same age as them, but he's supposed to be older. But they take care of that.
The uncle character is the only one that was kind of
Yeah.
not well formed.
Right.
Like creepy vibe to him and the wife a little bit, I thought, which was strange.
They were
but-
just from one page. That one page where
Yeah.
they just, like have a drink together.
Yeah, but still, it was really solid. I was really happy I bought and read this. This is the first trade is out with the first mini, or the
That's a nice
first
little hardcover.
arc, and
That's
then
nice.
It's got the ribbon in it.
it's got a nice bookmark ribbon, and the second.
He's not saving his place.
Just gonna say.
I finished it. I don't need to. I don't need to
that was
hold the
my
place.
copy.
So are you gonna keep it in trade, or are you gonna go?
Yeah, I think I will, because I liked having the entire story.
Yeah.
I liked being able to sit down late one night and read the whole thing through and get the whole
Get
thing.
tricked
And
out in one sitting.
I think the next arc is happening now.
Right.
So
Reads is a good comic book, so if you want to go in issues.
yes, no, totally.
Yeah.
He didn't waste any time in getting this trade out, so I don't.
No, and I think the soft cover is out later in the year if you want to spend for the hardcover. Although the production is really nice on it. It's a nice hardcover. It's
looks
got
very
nice,
nice, yeah.
square bound and it's all this. But
IDW, they do good work.
they do good work, and I recommend it's not just for horror fans. It's a great It's one of the best discoveries I've read in a while. I really liked it a lot.
Wow, look at
All
that.
right, so it's
So I will
the
be
audience.
I will be reading more Lock and Key probably in trade though.
All right, so it's the audience won, iFanboy won.
So we win if we don't like their book.
Yes, we win.
All right.
Let's see if we
don't
can
have to
break
buy
the.
it.
Let's see if we can break the tie after this.
Oh, Netflix. Honestly, where would I be without you? Thanks for sponsoring this episode of iFanboy. You can rent over 100,000 titles online, including a whole lot of Blu-ray titles with free shipping both ways to your home. There are now over 40 shipping centers, so almost all deliveries happen in just one business day. Plans start from $4.99, and as a new member, you get a no-risk 2-week free trial membership. Check it out at www.netflix.com/iFanboy, and remember the www.
So you're in the hot seat now.
No pressure. No
Yeah.
pressure.
The most requested book
By far.
by far.
No, not by far, but healthfully.
It's been going on for a while. Is Secret Six by Gail Simone and mostly Nicola Scott, who didn't illustrate the last one that I read. This book came out of Villains United, which was an Infinite Crisis tie-in.
Yeah.
Was it Infinite Crisis or was?
I believe so.
I don't know. I didn't read it.
A little ways back.
Yeah.
There had been a 60s miniseries of Secret Six,
Yes.
which I didn't read. So. And then there was a miniseries of 6 issues, Secret Six Volume 2, by Gail Simone and Dale Eaglesham, who
Not
before he and I read through some of that stuff. I read through Villains United.
You did your homework.
Yeah, I did. I definitely tried to do this.
You really laid the groundwork.
I wanted to, and I thought, well, what if I just go in and I read these? And I thought, what, that's not going to give it enough of a chance.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I did not expect to like these. My gut feeling, I have a gut feeling about books.
Yep.
A preternatural sixth sense that tells
All right, let's
me
not slather it on too thick.
All right.
book. 'Cause, yeah, we read a lot of books.
You just know what you like, what you don't like.
Basically, the deal is, there's a team of villains.
Wait, you read the Villains United mini.
Okay, but for this, I'm going to be talking about Secret Six, the current volume, which is volume 3. I read 1 through 8.
Okay, you read 1
Okay.
through 8.
Okay, so the good chunk.
Good
Yeah.
chunk.
7 of those are illustrated by Nicola.
And what are they're up to like 9 or 10
They're about the
now?
same. It's the same timing as Deadpool almost. They're in the first year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've read most of the issues that have been out.
Yes.
All right.
And the first arc is the 7 issues, and then this 8th one is like a one-shot.
So it's a team.
Of villains. Basically, way back long ago, Luthor was trying to arrange all of the villains in Villains United, and the 6 were the ones who were not going to be part of it. And then all of Luthor's people went after them, and then they ended up sticking together. The team is currently, or at least in these, is Scandal Savage, who is the daughter of Vandal Savage.
Yikes.
Wow.
We've already lost Connor. Catman,
Okay.
who's a brown cat-based Batman-looking dude.
Yes. He's been around a long time.
Deadshot, a Batman villain, a Gotham villain who... That's who he is mainly, right? That's where
Also the Flash,
he's
a little
a
bit.
DC
Yeah.
villain. He's a
Okay, I
general
tend to
DC
think of him as a
villain.
Batman because that's where I first saw him.
Yeah.
Ragdoll, who is the son of another...
Ragman?
Oh yeah, from Starman.
Ragman.
No, I think
Yeah.
it's... either way, but he's not that character.
Okay.
Because the Ragman in Starman is really, really,
Yeah.
really evil.
Right.
He's like the Purple Man of that
Yeah.
thing. Bane is in this group. You wait. That's...
Are there girls in the group? Chicks?
And then this is the Tarantula, but I didn't think she was on the team. I stopped counting in the middle of reading it. I wasn't there. Anyway, earlier there was other characters. There was a Parademon. There was a Darkseid Parademon in the earlier miniseries.
Was it Bob the Parademon?
He might have been.
That would have been pretty cool, actually.
And let's see, what is...
So what is there? So originally they formed to throw it in the face of Luthor.
Right.
So
And-
why did they stay together?
I'm not entirely clear on that.
All right.
Like, they do missions for a mysterious benefactor. They live in the House of Mystery, which is not
They live in the
related.
House of Mystery?
No, wait. House of Secrets.
They live in the House of Secrets?
Yes, they live in the House of Secrets.
From the Vertigo.
I don't believe so. I don't believe it's related to that.
Okay.
And they
Are they good or bad?
they're like Deadpool, I
okay,
guess.
yeah.
They're like a thing, but they're all bad guys at heart. So like Deadshot is a bad guy.
Right.
Listen,
He's a
I don't
killer.
care about any of you. You know who he is in this book? Who Deadshot? I'm gonna go through the kids. Basically, you have to decide if you like the characters or not. And if you
Right.
do, then you can kind of get with it. And if you don't, and it's not gonna happen. Deadshot to me was McSteamy. Like
Steamy, interesting.
in the earlier versions of where he's sort of amoral.
Kind of a jerk,
Yeah.
but charming.
Yeah, and he's got a mustache.
Yeah.
Nice Grey's Anatomy reference.
Thank you. But I literally felt like that's who they were writing him as.
Yeah.
That's what it came. I don't know if that's actually the case at all. And
I gotta
he's-
say, Deadshot does not look like I thought he'd look.
no,
under a
he
mask.
does not.
No, he
And
doesn't.
They spend a lot. They all spend a lot of time without masks on.
Oh, that's
which is
helpful.
actually kind of a good thing because it
Yeah.
lets you get to know them as people, and it's sort of less silly.
Yeah.
Scandal Savage is a lesbian,
Mm-hmm.
and her lover was killed, and so she's depressed through this whole bit until she meets a stripper who looks exactly like Knockout, who I believe was her ex-girlfriend who's dead. And then the last one I read, they all go on a date. Catman is, I think, sort of the main. He's sort of
Character.
The main
character
guy,
they focus on, and the idea was that he used to be a gigantic joke. He was
He was a
fat
joke.
and he was
No.
dumb.
Used to be.
Well, no, this is the point. And that he flipped out. He went to Africa and he lived among the lions, and now he's fucking hardcore. And he's supposed to be serious, and like he has a fight with Batman at one point, and they like sort of fight to an even end.
Yeah, whatever.
Exactly.
That ain't happening.
And I had a hard time because I realized he was a joke, and now he's supposed to be serious, but he still looks really stupid.
Yeah.
It's a really stupid costume. He has 3 scratches.
Yeah.
On his thing, and it's like they know that, but I'm still supposed to take him seriously, and I had a hard time with that. The first arc, the 7 issues, is basically their job is to. There's a evil supervillain whose name I don't really remember. There's a reveal. I know who it is, but I don't remember the name. And he's apparently the criminal overlord of all of like the West Coast that everybody pays tribute to. And is very scary. And he has these 2 guys who help him, and they both wear plaid, and it's really bad plaid overlay. There's no actual folding to the fabric. And the Secret Six's mission is to capture this girl Tarantula, because she has a card that is this is kind of a spoiler.
She's got a black Amex.
It's a black card that's a get out of hell free card. So all of the villains want to get the card. And it makes them fight amongst each other because they all think, well, shit, we were all bad guys. and it
That's
almost
kind of
breaks up the
interesting.
team. The story itself, from a plotting standpoint and a making the characters go against each other standpoint, was pretty good. It was well plotted. The art, Nicola Scott's very talented.
Yeah.
She's
She's
got a
great.
style.
She's
It's
really
sort
good.
of in that Dale Eaglesham camp.
Yeah,
sort
it's
of.
the-
It's a
yeah.
little toned down from that. I think the most this is gonna drive you. The most interesting character to me in this is Bane. Bane was the best character in this
Interesting.
because he's a post Venom Bane. He's off
Right.
Venom.
Yeah.
He won't do it.
Yeah.
It is
No,
an
good for him.
addiction
He's
that
off
he
the-
won't be
he's off
part
the
of.
junk.
And he's got a strict moral code.
Yeah.
And he follows that, and he's got to take care of Scandal. Like, that's his thing.
Without Venom, though, what is he?
He's a big, strong dude.
Because of the Venom, though.
Well,
The thing is, the whole time, he keeps saying, no, I won't take the Venom. So
Right.
what do you think that means in a
He's going to
dramatic
take the
sense?
Venom eventually.
Yeah.
He might.
oh, the tension.
And, you know, like, Catman has a thing with the Huntress, so he's not sure if he wants to be good or bad. There's a lot of interesting scenes and things like that.
This isn't sounding good.
So are you? Are you?
I mean,
on board?
I'm
you're.
just gonna keep reading it. Here's the thing. One of my big. I didn't hate this. I want this to be clear. It's not a bad comic book. It's
didn't
a
hate
fine.
Deadpool. Yeah.
It's a fine comic book. It's not for me.
Right.
So this isn't. I'm not saying to people who like the book you shouldn't like it because it's dumb. That's not it. However, when you have a team full of bad guys, it's really hard to write them consistently so that you feel like they're bad guys and that you care about
This
them.
is always the problem with books about bad guys,
Right.
is that eventually they have to be watered down into good guys because you can't follow
can't
people
sympathize with them.
consistently who are evil and then sympathize with them. You can do it in a one-shot, you can do it in an OGN, you can do it in a complete story, but if it's infinite...
It's funny because I found myself when I was reading Deadpool, like I wasn't really rooting for him.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like all these things were happening to him, and I didn't. It was just like, oh, let's see how he gets out of it, you know. But like, it wasn't like, come on, you know, like it wasn't.
It's
you know.
almost like a romantic comedy. Will they or won't they?
right.
But it's about will they go back to being bad guys or will
Yeah.
they be good guys? And you can only string that along so long before you kind of don't buy it.
Right.
And like with
Plus-
Catman keeps acting like he's gonna go be a superhero, but then not, and he's haunted by something. Like literally, like keep flashing back to something he did in the past, and you see like flashes of dialogue, because he was torturing some poachers.
Yeah.
And you know, don't laugh because it really is no more ridiculous than anything else in
Yeah,
comics.
sure,
It's not the
sure.
point. The thing that really was not for me in this is that there's a jokey one-liner thing that goes through the whole thing. There's a cleverness into the writing that is not my taste at all.
Yeah.
Where every page somebody's got to do something.
Whimsical.
It's like the Deadpool and Secret Six are very similar.
Yeah, and I think that
because that's the same. Kind
well,
of
Gail
thing
Simone
where-
wrote Deadpool for a long time.
Yeah, she
also.
did. Yeah, she did.
And I don't, for some reason I don't want that in superhero comics.
Right.
I like jokes. I like things that are funny. I like them sometimes, but like Ragdoll, every time they say something, it's sort of a whimsical. Oh, do be a dear and
Foppish.
fetch the
Yeah.
and it like I get it.
Yeah.
I'm over
It's like
it.
this. Whenever I think of humor and superheroes, we go back to the mainstay, the Giffen DeMatteis
Mm-hmm.
Justice League, which is great because that humor was there. But I think it needs the heroic, like humor and villains and humor and like it just. It's.
I think it was
weird-
getting better as it went, but this is now the third. So this would be the 20th issues or so that have been done, and there's a specific tone. It's well done. It's well crafted. It's well plotted.
Yeah.
The voice is not something that I particularly like very much.
Right.
If you like jokey comics that sort of don't take themselves sort of serious, but then do. But it's every page, like, and there's a lot of that foppishness. Like,
Yeah.
several characters do it.
Yeah.
And I really hate that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for me at all.
Okay. So looks like iFanboy triumphs in this
I
round.
guess we could say, well, I had to read them all. So I-
I know, so
many
we all-
issues of
we all
comics.
lose. No. So if you've got some more books that you think that we should read or that we got totally wrong on these, you can shoot us an email at contact@ifanboy.com.
I'm just sending fans away.
Yeah.
Or you can call us and you can rant at Josh at 888-FANBOYS, which is 326-2697. Leave us a voicemail, tell us where you're from, and leave it shortish.
If you decided that I don't like this and I don't like Thor, so I'm no longer worth it, make sure you go to ifanboy.com. You comment on this show. Tell us what you think of these books. Ours are not the only opinions that matter. They're
Right.
just our own opinions.
Exactly.
And that's really important. I'm not telling you your opinions are bad. They're just not the same. Go there, talk about this stuff, talk about all the other stuff at ifanboy.com. Good stuff every single day from lots of different people and lots of opinions, and that's why it's good.
Yay.
And that's all. So,
Although mine is the most important opinion.
well, you're tall.
Yeah.
The Deadpool had the recap pages. They were no help.
Bad. Mike's purple thumb was bad enough.
All right. Cold open.
The flesh is sealed. It's the nail that's the problem.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Nobody wants to see it.
It's gonna take forever to heal.
I know.
All right.
The nails have to grow out.
No one wants to see that.
All right, you ready? 3, 2.
So we didn't figure out who was going to say that, did we?
No, we didn't.